Darkness engulfed the town of Sanford when mysterious deaths began occurring in homes. At first, no one paid attention to isolated cases. A man on East Street died in his sleep. A woman in the suburbs never woke up. A young boy disappeared into the silence of the night. The police considered it a tragic coincidence until the death toll rose to dozens. Panic gripped the town. People could not explain why their loved ones were dying in their own beds, without any signs of struggle or violence. Rumors of curses, demons, and an invisible epidemic spread through the streets. But when a newborn baby, born that very day, was found dead, the townspeople realized this was no coincidence. The situation escalated when one family discovered horrific scratches and bruises on their daughter's body, which appeared after her death. Many victims had twisted limbs, their faces frozen in expressions of unimaginable horror. People were afraid to sleep, and those who tried to doze off awoke screaming. It seemed that fear from dreams was manifesting in reality. The victims' deaths became even more gruesome. In one apartment, an entire family was found dead, their bodies grotesquely contorted, their faces locked in grimaces of sheer terror. Their eyes were wide open, as if they had seen something so horrifying they couldn't endure it. Written in blood on the wall were the words, "He has come." The authorities called upon experienced detectives, Howard King and Eliza Morton, renowned investigators of supernatural cases. They delved into case files, interviewed witnesses, and searched for a common link between the victims. The deeper they investigated, the more terrifying the details became. Every deceased person had complained of strange nightmares before their deaths, in which an unknown man in a white coat stood by their beds, grinning with a sinister smile. King and Morton began checking all the local doctors and scientists. Eventually, their suspicions fell on Dr. Vincent Morgen, a former scientist known for his experiments on consciousness. Years ago, he claimed to have discovered a way to enter other people's dreams, but his findings were dismissed as delusions, and he was fired from the university. After that, he disappeared, until now. When the detectives found his abandoned house on the outskirts of Sanford, they discovered journals filled with descriptions of his experiments. It turned out that Morgan had developed technology to enter dreams, but he used it for sinister purposes, killing people in their nightmares, forcing their hearts to stop from sheer terror. In some entries, he described how he created personalized tortures for his victims, making them feel as though their bodies were being shredded, torn apart, their blood flooding the room, yet they could not wake up. In some cases, the victims literally exploded from within, as if something was ripping them apart. Morgan's final target was Howard King himself. That night, the detective fell asleep, and his consciousness was transported into a world of nightmarish horrors. He found himself in an endless corridor filled with the sounds of agonized screams. The ceiling was covered in black mold, from which a thick, blood-like liquid dripped. From around the corner, Morgan appeared, his face twisted in inhuman delight, his eyes burning with hellish fire. He reached for King with his long, spider-like fingers. The detective felt his throat tighten, as if an invisible force was strangling him slowly, savoring his suffering. But King did not panic. He had uncovered the secret. If Morgan was killed in his own dream, he would disappear forever. With his last strength, the detective lunged at the scientist and drove a knife, which he found nearby, into his chest. Morgan let out a guttural scream, his body dissolving into the darkness as the world around them erupted into chaotic flashes. King awoke, gasping, drenched in sweat. In the real world, police found Morgan's body in his own bed. He had died in his sleep, just like his victims. Sanford finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yet, one question remained. What if Morgan was not the only one who had mastered the art of killing in dreams?